happening as it's happening right now around the NBA.
For whatever reason, the All-Star thing has just never happened. And for once, I just thought, hey, maybe I should let people know that, it is on my agenda. It is something that I really want.
A candid Conley joins us before the Grizz play in New Orleans. Property vacant. Joel Embiid needs tonight to rest. So what happens with that real estate he claims to own in the head of Andre Drummond? Durability and availability. How many games can a player miss and still win MVP? We'll ask the man in charge of the MVP ladder, Sekou Smith. He is here revealing a shakeup atop this week's list. We're talking with the newsmakers and news reporters with opinion, perspective, and predictions. This is 10 Before Tip, presented by Ford. Well, thanks for joining us on this Friday as we discuss the biggest stories of the day, and there are plenty of them, and set the table for a 10-game Friday night in the NBA. I'm Jared Greenberg. Mike Conley keeping it 100. You'll want to stick around to hear what the Grizzlies point guard had to say about his place in the game. 10 Before Tip number one, we've got a trade. George Hill heading to Milwaukee to play for the Bucks. It's what's happening now. Here's the details of the trade. We've got George Hill and Sam Dekker on the move. Again, seems like every 3 months he gets moved, fortunately for him, but he's on his way to Milwaukee. Meanwhile, going back to Cleveland, Matthew Dellavedova, who was that hero from the finals from several years ago, and John Henson, plus a couple of picks going the way to Cleveland. But what this is doing here is not only sending some veteran backcourt depth to Milwaukee, but it's also clearing some major space for next summer as the Bucks, along with every other team in the NBA, prepare for what is going to be the busiest summer in the history of the league, with more than 200 free agents and nearly every team having money to spend. Sekou Smith, hand over your wallet.
Me and everybody else.
From NBA.com, we'll talk MVP ladder in a moment, but just before we came on air tonight, we learned of this trade where many may not view it as, okay, it's not a blockbuster, but this does do a lot for the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that likes their chances this year and moving forward with Giannis Antetokounmpo as their centerpiece.
Yeah, it's about flexibility, Jared. You want to be able to keep the pieces around him that have helped them get off to this great start. You got a lot of guys, namely Chris Middleton, being central among them, and Eric Bledsoe, and Malcolm Brogdon coming off that rookie deal. You want to have all the resources necessary to keep that core group together around Giannis. This gives the Bucks the opportunity to do just that.
Yeah, frees up some space so they could spend the money on Giannis, as well as a guy like Chris Middleton, who very well may be an all-star this season.
Yeah, and we're going to see I think we're going to see more activity like this, where you look up and go, well, there's money involved, but is it really a player deal, Jared? This actually gives you some security at that point guard position if you're Milwaukee, because you get another veteran hand to come off that bench and play some minutes if need be. I think George Hill has shown himself to be a guy who can play at a high level around an elite superstar player like Giannis. He did it with LeBron. Now he's going to get an opportunity potentially to do it with the Greek Freak.
And keep in mind, George Hill's career started in San Antonio before he was traded for Kawhi Leonard. Mike Budenholzer, the coach of the Bucks, he got most of his schooling in the NBA working for the Spurs.
Yeah, and don't forget, that was a trade that the Spurs did with the teeth, gnashed. They did not want to give up George Hill. Now, had they known how good Kawhi was going to be, I don't think it would be as tough to make that deal now. But at the time, you remember, there were a lot of people in that Spurs organization that did not want to part ways with George Hill.
Certainly not. On to 10 Before Tip number two, a status update.
He's just a little bit more louder than usual. So every time he gets, he starts to talk a little bit more. That means something good is happening, and that's a good sign for us.
And a bad sign for the rest of the league. DeMarcus Cousins inching closer to making his Warriors debut after tearing his ACL last year with the Pelicans. Now, Coach Kerr says today that Cousins will start practicing with the Dubs' G League squad, possibly as soon as this week. So while one center is getting set to play, another won't be anytime soon. Yesterday, Damian Jones underwent surgery on his torn pec muscle, which will keep the big man who started 22 games at the center position for Golden State out for an indefinite period of time. Jones is slated to begin his rehab in about 6 weeks. Now, Draymond Green really wants to play. Steve Kerr would prefer to give him another couple of days. Green is officially listed as questionable as of the most recent injury report at 5:30 Eastern for tonight's game against the Bucks. Green has missed the last 10 games with a toe injury. Sekou, let's talk about this game tonight. Bucks and the Warriors. There is some history here. Tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks can become the first team from the Eastern Conference to beat the Warriors 4 times during the Steve Kerr era.
Well, it's good to catch them early, twice already in this season. That's just, great scheduling by somebody.
Right.
But this is a different Warriors outfit than the one they punished the first time around. This is a group that's got a different chip on his shoulder now, Jared. And Steph is back in the groove after coming back from missing. Yes. KD is playing lights out when he's not calling you a fanboy. So, there's some opportunities, for this Warriors team to show up with their eye up a little bit. I'm expecting fireworks.
I'm just happy he knows who I am. That's the exciting part for me. Tonight, obviously, the fireworks. Bucks make that trade. Obviously, parts won't be ready to go for tonight's game, but it is, and we'll get to your MVP ladder in a second, but it is a showcase of 2 of the biggest and brightest stars, 2 guys who are capable of electrifying an arena tonight, Giannis against Steph.
Giannis against Steph, and really, from a dimensions perspective, it's Giannis against KD. That was the matchup the first time around that I thought was really intriguing. Giannis going after KD on the defensive end, contesting shots, blocking shots. But this is where Steph shines to me, on the road with all the lights on. He loves the Midwest. I don't know if you've seen him in Cleveland anytime lately, but
Did you watch Crunch Time? Of course we saw him Wednesday night in Cleveland.
This is an opportunity, though, when you think about it, Jared. It's a huge night and a monstrous weekend for the Bucks. They got not only the Warriors tonight, obviously, but the Raptors this weekend. So Giannis is going to have to conserve that energy, get all you can tonight, but then get some rest tomorrow because the weekend will give you another challenge. The Warriors, like I said, this is a group that's coming in very angry, very upset that people have downgraded them and are treating them like they're mere mortals. So I'm expecting a lot of different guys, not just the superstars, to show up and play tonight.
Speaking of pacing yourself and being well rested, 10 before tip. Number 3, it's now and Philadelphia for the first time this year telling Joel Embiid, you're not going to play tonight. You need to rest.
He needs rest. That's the bottom line. And really, we would look at a bunch of dates, and not many are ideal. And so after the last few games with Memphis and Toronto, it became clear just through the eye test and listening that the time was now.
Okay, so this is disappointing on so many levels, primarily because it was the next edition, the third time this year, of Embiid against Andre Drummond, 2 of the preeminent big men in the league this year, and they've done so much trash talking. Of course, we showed you the tweet at the top of the show that Joel Embiid says he owns real estate in Andre Drummond's head, so hopefully somebody will vacate that. Hopefully Andre is vacating all of that tonight. But here's the thing. When you think about, you do some simple math here, what Brett Brown is saying, they play Detroit tonight and then again on Monday, no games in between. Last game they played was Wednesday. You think about this, now Embiid gets 4 days of complete rest. So it's not just tonight off, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leading up to Monday's game again against the Pistons.
Yeah, he can do House Hunters Monday, all he wants.
Is that your favorite show?
Yes, but think about it. This is the schedule Joel Embiid is used to.
Right.
This is what...
But he said he didn't want to do it this year. He told me very bluntly on media day he would be angry if he got rested this year.
Sorry, big fella. They can't afford to have Joel Embiid tattered, worn out, or anything else, Jared. When he's not at his very best, they're a completely different team. They got to have him ready to go.
Here's what I'm curious about, any pushback from the league office, because 2 years ago, you remember these type of things were happening on a regular nightly basis with stars around the league being rested. Thank goodness it's not happening that often now. But tonight, Philly in Detroit, national TV, it's on ESPN, and we didn't find out about this until earlier today that Embiid wouldn't play. He wasn't on any injury report.
Yeah, it's disappointing from a perspective of wanting to see the best guys out there on the court. Obviously, with the history he and Drummond have, you don't ever want to miss a matchup that they have. It's kind of like when Joel Embiid gets a chance to go at Hassan Whiteside. He's got a couple of guys he's picked out, and Andre Drummond being one of them, that he likes to go after, and he's not going to, get a chance to do that tonight. But that just stores up the juice for Monday. I'm telling you, I'm tuning in Monday no matter what, because I guarantee you, he's going to go bazonkers on Andre Drummond on Monday, and I want to watch that.
Well, if you're not watching the game tonight on ESPN, make sure you're tuned into Crunch Time then here on NBA TV, because we'll take you around the league. Let's go 10 before tip number 4. It's star power, and Sekou Smith has his latest MVP ladder, and let's show you what it looks like. You got the hairdo here to give it away. Joel Embiid at number 5. In at number 4 was the guy who had held firm at number 1 for a long time on this list, Giannis Antetokounmpo, dropping all the way to 4, followed by the Claw going to 3. Steph Curry back in at the list at 2, and the four-time MVP LeBron James finally getting respect from someone. Sekou Smith putting him atop your board right now. Now, when we look at all of this and we think about games missed, we're talking about it with Embiid. Tonight, just his first game, he'll be out. We've had Giannis miss a couple of games. We've had Kawhi miss 6 games. Steph Curry's missed 11 games so far this year. How much will games missed factor in to this year's award?
Well, I mean, I think we've always looked at it, Jared, as a component, that you use in that matrix. My issue about that is we got to stop penalizing guys for things that are out of their control. If you're Steph Curry and you get an injury, you can't control the fact that you're going to have to miss that time. Now, if it's a different, situation, it's a maintenance program, that's different. That's something I think that has to be factored in differently into this equation. But if you're hurt, you're hurt. And if your team looks the way the Warriors look,
people would argue with you on that, because even though Steph Curry was out due to a groin injury, you could very easily argue if he was on any other team other than the super team out west, he would have returned prior to 11 games.
He may have, but if he was any other player, he wouldn't be on top, of the list right underneath LeBron the way he is. Let's be honest. Let's look at this with clear eyes this deep into the season. There's a holy trinity in this MVP race right now, and it's LeBron, Kawhi, and Steph. They have the resumes for it. They've got the history and the pedigree, and they've also got the production right now this season. Look at the teams they're leading. Would the Lakers even be in the hunt for a playoff spot in the Western Conference if LeBron wasn't on that team? Absolutely not. We saw what the Warriors look like, how normal they look without Steph, even with Kevin Durant, another MVP, Klay Thompson, other All-Stars healthy. And the Raptors, what's the one difference about the Toronto Raptors this year that wasn't there last year? They were the top team in the East last year, but you didn't feel like they had a chance to go all the way. They have Kawhi now, and there's a different vibe around that Raptors team. Put these guys in the positions they're supposed to be in this week and let it play out.
How much are you looking at LeBron's supporting cast when determining whether he's in the one spot this week or you move him in future weeks?
It depends. What kind of production you got out of that supporting cast. But if we're going to be honest about it, what other player in the league could transport himself from place to place the way LeBron has and uplift the entire organization the way he does? We got to stop. I'm serious. We got to stop giving LeBron the stink eye. And I'm speaking to you, Kevin, right? We got to stop giving him the stink eye for being LeBron James. Give him his credit.
You got to stop reading into it. He was just pointing out facts. It's tough to play around LeBron James when you're a star player. I don't think he was taking a shot.
I like the drama.
And we love the MVP ladder, which you can find on NBA.com. Each Friday it comes out. We've got much more to come with Sekou as well as Mike Conley. We're coming up with Crunch Time coming up tonight at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. We'll show you the biggest moments tonight as they happen live. Join us tonight at 9:30 Eastern for Crunch Time. Coming up next, the chat with Mike Conley, who's very candid.
I've had opportunities and have just slipped by. But for me, I've always been just such a team guy, that's just always trying to win games, trying to win playoff series, trying to get to championships.
They played New Orleans coming off a fantastic win against the Clippers. 6-win improvement year over year, last year to this year for the Grizzlies. They've been doing it with that grit and grind style, not just the cliche, and nobody's been playing better than Mike Conley, who's having a career year in terms of points and assists, and also, look at this, leads all players in offensive loose balls recovered. He is putting it all out on the floor. So we had some questions earlier tonight from Mike Conley about the pressures of this season, particularly after the owner said in the offseason this Grizzlies squad should win 50 games.
Yeah, I think guys, who we've put on this team this year, guys who we've signed in offseason, guys who have come back from injuries from a season ago, all have come back with a different sense of urgency, motivation. Not for any pressure from owners or coaches, but just putting pressure on our own self. Just knowing that we got to go out and do our own job to have a chance at winning and being successful in this tough league, especially in the West. So I think guys have just come back with a different mindset individually and have really gelled together quickly in the early part of the year.
Mike, maybe I gave the basketball fans too much credit because I thought we were beyond this whole Mike Conley is the most underrated player thing in the NBA, right? Because I figured everybody knew how good you were when you're healthy. And now that you are healthy and now that you're putting up these numbers, it seems like you're not being shy. In fact, you're being proactive the last couple days and couple weeks to say how much it does mean to you to be an all-star. Why is it not only important to be an all-star, but important to voice your opinion on this?
Well, for me, it's just become, more glaring over the years. I think outside of the injury seasons, I've had opportunities and have just slipped by. But for me, I've always been just such a team guy, just always trying to win games, trying to win playoff series, trying to get to championships, and that's where my mind's been at. And you know, for whatever reason, the All-Star thing has just never happened. And for once, I just thought, hey, you know, maybe I should let people know that, you know, it is on my agenda. It is something that I really want to have done in my career. You know, like I've been in the league 12 years, and it's been a long time, and I don't know how long I'll play. You know, it could be, you know, 16, 17, 18 seasons, and it's all done. And I just like to look back and have something, you know, like that on the resume, which would be great.
Is it something that you feel like your career wouldn't be complete without?
I think a championship would be first. You know, that would be the most important thing. But definitely, you know, without an All-Star appearance, with having opportunities would definitely, you know, not be as fulfilling of a career as I would probably want to have had when I walk away from the game. So, you know, I definitely, you know, want to have that you know, on the resume and be, you know, amongst one of those, you know, top players in the league.
Mike, I got to think a guy you're going up against tonight believes he should be an All-Star too. He's already been once in the East, but now he'll try and be for the first time this year in the West. Jrue Holiday, like yourself, known as one of the best two-way guards in the league, and he shifted over to play more of the two now. But with his defense he has and with the numbers that he's put up, both of you having career years, what do you expect from him tonight when you two match up against each other?
Hey, as he should be an All-Star, man. He's phenomenal and has been great for the past few seasons, and you expect from a guy like him who's going to put pressure on you defensively. He's always as solid as ever on the defensive end. Offensively, he can do everything. He can penetrate, he can shoot. He makes plays for his teammates and plays with a great pace. You know, he's very patient and plays under control at all times. So it's going to, you know, pose a challenge for all of us as guards tonight, dealing with him, and we're just going to do our best job defensively on him and hope that, you know, this night isn't as easy and comfortable as you'd like it to be.
And the fans there are going to sell out the building tonight at Smoothie King Center, so they're trying to make it uncomfortable for you as well. We'll look forward to checking in on you on Crunch Time tonight. Mike, good luck. We appreciate you joining us, and control that pace tonight because they're going to try and run up and down the court on you.
That's the plan. Thank you very much.
There he is, Mike Conley. That's the answers. Trending! Going in the right direction for the league's hottest team, Denver in Charlotte tonight, trying to make it 8 straight. OKC and red-hot Paul George take on the Bulls, looking for a 5th straight. Meanwhile, weird home and home here. Got Lakers and the Spurs. LA trying for a 5th straight win. Meanwhile, Spurs come in hobbling, having lost 4 of 5. Speaking of hobbling, no team more confounding this year than the Houston Rockets. League best 65 wins last year. Now they've lost 6 of 8. And here's what Eric Gordon told The Athletic after last night's loss, getting beaten up by Utah. I have good games. We're just not using some of the guys the right way. Are we going to make the right sacrifices? Do we have the right attitude? These are questions that go beyond just X's and O's and can we be good enough. Eric Gordon, Sekou Smith, is letting us inside the locker room a bit here that we know there's something wrong. He's letting us know that they know something's wrong too.
Yeah, and I don't think it's any secret in that locker room, Jared. They knew something was wrong the minute they finished last season in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals on their home floor on the wrong side of the ledger. They allowed some pieces that helped them get that number one.
Last year, career low in turnovers per game. This year, he's well over 120 turnovers per game.
Everybody
total.
gets affected, though, Jared. I mean, your performance around here is affected by more than just what Jared does. There are other people in the building who have to be a part of this.
I know, hair people, makeup people.
Exactly.
Right, yeah,
miracle workers. So, I mean, you're going to have people around to make it all go. The Rockets messed with their chemistry when they didn't have to. They're paying the price for it now. Eric Gordon is just giving a voice to what we've all seen.
We'll see what happens next for this Rocket team. Wow, they're off tonight, thankfully. I got a break from the Sekou. Appreciate you joining us. We'll check in on the MVP ladder on NBA.com. Don't forget, join us later on tonight on Crunch Time at 9:30 Eastern for the biggest moments of the night as they happen live. Sekou, as we leave tonight, we want to show you this.
Oh,
I got a jersey finally. Look at that.
I love it.
Get me on the fun bus down to Orlando.